John here, and today we're going to talk about and review Rambo 4. And, it's hard to believe that this film came out in 2008. I remember seeing this in the theater in January of '08, and I may have seen it a couple of times, and, the experience was exciting. It was just a great experience. And, what came of this movie after was that I was going through YouTube, trying to find reviews, what people are saying about this film. And that's when I discovered Matt, Rambo Rare for Life, and, his review of Rambo 4 way back when. And I'm like, this guy seems cool. I'm going to subscribe to Matt. And, from there I started to make videos. I was like, how do you make a YouTube channel? And how can I make videos? And, I started to make videos. And, sooner or later, that's when I discovered Mike, OCP, other people up here like Wildman Beyond, and, eventually Fabio and, Matt Thomas, and, a lot of the other guys up here that I've known for a long time. Even people that have left, kind words like DJ Donnelly, Sean Little. And I remember, even Efrey. I know I haven't talked to Efrey in a while, but, once in a while I will see him on one of Matt's streams, and, Efrey's a great guy. And it's been like a great sort of, wave of, discovering YouTube, and, my interest in movies really expanded. Look at all this behind me and over there. I started to discover more and more movies, and my love for movies really blew up, at that time period. At the beginning of '08, it started with this movie. This was kind of like the catalyst here, for my interest in YouTube, my interest in making videos, for doing reviews, for doing all types of, content. Way back when I was Action Fan 89, back in the day when you can, send a personal message on YouTube, that I wish that they would bring that back. I really miss that. Because you can do that on every other platform, but you can't do that on YouTube. You can't send a DM or a PM. But yeah, that was when YouTube was a lot more fun. You can, and I know I'm talking about the glory days here, but back then you could do a whole lot more. And yeah, I remember making little music, like video tributes to films like Above the Law and Falling Down. I remember doing a tribute to Stan Winston. I think he had passed away in May of that year, I believe, and I remember doing a tribute to him. Yes, my brother. But yeah, so again, it all really started with this movie here. It's sort of like, the ripple of, how I got into YouTube, and it all started from this movie. And so this movie means a lot to me, as far as, importance, and as far as my friendships, all the friends that I've made through YouTube. And even to this day, I'm still friends with Matt. I'm still friends with Mike. I'm still friends with Fabio, Matt Thomas, Wildman Beyond. Aaron, I don't know what happened to Aaron way back when, but, the Reese 007, he was a good guy up here. I don't know what happened to him, but I hope he's doing well wherever he's at. And so many other people in the comments that leave, again, positive feedback and, kind words and comments. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about Rambo 4. And the plot here, so, Rambo is living peacefully in Thailand, capturing snakes. And soon he's asked by these Christian aid workers to take them up the river to Burma. But, Burma's a war zone, and, Rambo doesn't want to take him up there. But after contemplating, he decides to take them up the river. And not long after, they are captured. And Rambo has to now go after and get these people back with the help of mercenaries. And that's the plot here to Rambo 4. Stallone directed the film, and this is at the time, where he had just done Rocky Balboa. His comeback, it was a strong comeback. I mean, Rocky Balboa is a great movie. And then, coming back with another Rambo film. I remember at the time, just being excited. And I'm like, this is great. Stallone's coming back, and, not only has he brought back Rocky, but, he brings back Rambo. And I was excited. And the script here, you have 3 people that help with the script, Stallone and David Morrell, but you also have this guy, Art Monterostelli. And I didn't know, but this guy had also provided or had a hand in the script for The Hunted, the 2003 film, which is very underrated. But Stallone, he returns as Rambo, and this was the height of his comeback. He had just done Rocky Balboa, and he was in great shape, for that film, and maintaining that shape here, for being what at the time, 60, 61. Again, he's in great shape. Obviously, he's not going to run around the film shirtless like he had done in Rambo 2 and 3. And he didn't need to. Rambo here, he's more older, he's more gruff. I don't know if that's the right word that I'm thinking about. But, here's a guy that, a character that's older, he's seen it all. And I love his, attitude in the film. And his performance, it really reminded me of the first movie where, he has dialogue here and there. And when he does deliver dialogue, it's impactful, but it's also about, the body language of the character and the expressions, the look of the character. And I know for a lot of people, and I think that's why for a lot of people, this film is kind of like their second favorite. And I know I'm kind of getting away a little bit from talking about the cast. But I know for some people, when it comes to the Rambo films, a lot of people say that, the first film is the best film because it's more story driven, it's more story focused, and it's more serious, where Rambo 2 and 3, they're more action based, they were more comic booky, whatever. Now, I love the first 4. I don't like Rambo 5, and I'll talk about that, pretty soon here. But, I understand that, for some people, that's why they say that this film is the closest to the first film in regards to tone, direction, the execution, the story, and what have you. But, like I said, I love the first 4 equally. But, again, Stallone does a great job. Julie Benz in the film, who's our lead missionary. I almost said mercenary. That would have been a different movie. But, Julie Benz, she's decent in the film. I know some people have been critical of her performance here. And again, Julie Benz is fine. She's decent. I've seen her in other stuff, and she's not a bad actress. I think she was in the pilot for Buffy way back when. But again, Julie Benz is decent. Matthew Marsden, who plays Schoolboy, he's the sniper of the mercenaries, and that character, he does a great job as that character. He's one of the better mercenaries. The lead of mercenaries, played by Graham McTavish. I like the back and forth that, he has with Rambo on the boat. And, Rambo is just, giving him these stares, like the look of death, giving him that death stare. And, a lot of back and forth there. And he has, a couple of more people here. Paul Schultz, who plays Michael, one of the missionaries, he's fine. Ken Howard appears in the film as this minister that lets Rambo know that, hey, our people have been taken. They haven't made it home in whatever days, 2 weeks or whatever. We know that they've been taken, and we have people on hand, mercenaries to go in there, and we want you to go with them to get our people back. And that's Ken Howard, and he does fine. I mean, he's in the film for that little bit. The main villain, this character, this General Tent, a very sadistic villain. And, this villain here, you really want this villain to be killed. He's a very brutal and savage character, killing women and children, throwing babies into the fire and all this stuff, and raping. I mean, there's a little scene in there where they insinuate, they don't show it, thank God, but this general is a real piece of work that you want this character to get whatever, just kill this character. He just very sadistic character, villain. But yeah, like I said, overall the cast is really good here. And of course, Richard Crenna had passed away just a few years prior, and not having him in the film, his presence is definitely missed here. As well as Jerry Goldsmith, he had passed away at this point. But you have Brian Tyler, who provides the score here, and he does a great job with the score, really impactful. And I think Jerry Goldsmith will be proud of, Brian Tyler here for what he was able to do with the score. So Brian Tyler does a great job with the score here. And some other stuff here that I really appreciate about the film, the story, really covers the atrocities, of Burma. And from what I understand, that this film was a hot item. They were bootlegging the film in Burma, and it was a hot item this film year. And so it covered the atrocities of what was going on at that time. And so I think Stallone did a great job bringing that forth here with the story. And again, tying in with the main villain here, and just how sadistic and savage the villain here he was, and what his army would do to innocent people. And the violence of the film is very graphic. And I just hit my paper, but the violence here, it's graphic. It doesn't hold back. It's very in your face and hardcore. I mean, even in the third act, where Rambo gets on the 50 caliber, which originally he was going to carry that thing. He was going to carry that 50 caliber. I had read that in the trivia, and it was I think it weighed 120 pounds or something, and he couldn't maneuver it like he wanted it to. He couldn't spin around the 50 calibers. So, he had stayed in the Jeep, and he was, killing off the army. And, that whole third act is exciting. And, the mercenaries here, I will admit at first, the mercenaries, I wasn't too big on, because I'm I just want Rambo by himself. I just want Rambo to go in there and, kick ass and take names. When I saw the film for the first time, I wasn't too big on the mercenaries, or I was kind of indifferent. But, as time moved on, I loved the characters. The mercenaries, I thought they had a good rapport going on. And, the lead mercenary, he would get in Rambo's face, and, they would have their little back and forth. And, so the mercenaries were all good. I would say more so the character of Schoolboy, he's the standout of the group. And, you would have some great moments with Rambo, coming around the corner with the bow and arrow and killing people, a couple of soldiers. You got the scene where they're on the boat and they get stopped by these pirates, and Rambo takes them out. And you got the whole scene where they go into the village and they free the missionaries, and they have, it's raining, it's dark, and I really love that scene, where they free the missionaries. And then you got the scene where Rambo rips out the guy's throat. Then you got the scene with the claymore where it's the next morning and Rambo and the girl and the schoolboy's on the run and the enemy's right behind them. And that's when he gets the idea that, there's this bomb in the jungle. I'm going to put a claymore down there and blow it up, when they come find it. That was a great scene. The whole explosion. That was a great scene. And again, I mentioned the third act of the film, just being exciting. Rambo on the 50 cal, wasting away the whole army and turning everybody into paste. And I know some people complain or, have been critical about the CGI blood. And I'm critical of the CGI blood. I think, at times it could have been not as much. And I do think there's some shaky cam in there that could have been fixed up. Like, you didn't really need shaky cam. But, they were doing that at this time. They were still on that shaky cam train. And they had shaky cam in this film, and I wasn't too big on that. But, it was cool to see, Rambo, taking out a whole army. And that was cool. And, the main villain getting his comeuppance, where, he knives him right here, and all of his innards, they fall out. And then the film ends with, Rambo going home. Man, to me, that is the end of this franchise. Bringing that character full circle. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that I love about this movie. And, again, it means a lot to me because of how I got into YouTube and all this stuff that I mentioned earlier. With all that being said, let me get to my overall thoughts on Rambo. Another great comeback for Stallone with brutal action sequences and tone that harks back to First Blood. Brian Tyler does a wonderful job providing the score. Richard Crenna's presence is missed, but Rambo is a top-notch sequel that brings the character full circle. And out of 10, I'm going to give Rambo a 9 out of 10. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.